give a lot of grants and offer a lot of funding resources for Black and minority women. So.
Hey, what's going down? I want to stop things really quick and let you know I've been thinking about you. So at the beginning of the year, I always get calls from different coaches and business owners that want to really maximize their online brand and turn their followers into paying clients, but they just don't understand how. So I went back and I studied the industry, and I noticed a lot of different coaches are offering different online programs that ultimately are leaving business owners stuck after the program because the business owner still doesn't truly understand what they need to do in order to build their online brand presence. So what I did was I created a 10-week learning plan. Now this 10-week learning plan is specific for your business where we work together one-on-one, and I'll walk you through how you're able to turn your content into leads and sales, bringing your customers down a full journey. Now this learning plan is going to walk you through everything you need to know. So it's no more jumping from YouTube video to YouTube video trying to figure all this stuff out yourself. Now if you want to learn more about this learning plan, go ahead and click the link below, and I'll talk to you soon.
Hey, what's going down? Welcome to another episode of the Connections Hub podcast, where we connect you to everything business related. Now, I'm super excited for this episode because we don't only have a special guest, but she's actually one of the sponsors on the Connections Hub podcast platform altogether. So I don't want to steal from her shine, so I'm going to let Kaylon introduce herself and what it is that she does. So go ahead and take it over.
Hi, my name is Kaylon Beck. I'm the owner of Beck Call Hospitality, where the vision is to redefine hospitality through a cultural lens. And we are working on doing that by opening a bed and breakfast here in Houston.
No, that's amazing. Redefine.
Redefine hospitality through a cultural lens.
See, I like that, and I like the sound of that. So how are you guys redefining hospitality through a cultural lens?
Yes, so we are focusing on bringing cultural, engaging activities to the community. So through events, through our lodging, or eventually through our lodging, we want to be able to provide a safe space for travelers, not only coming into Houston, but also locals who need engaging and fun things to do within the community.
Now that's what's up. And you know, Houston is like a melting pot for every type of diverse. We're so diverse. We got this going, we got that going, we got this person coming. And people are coming for all these different reasons. We got the medical center, we got you just coming to turn up. We got like all these different reasons to come to Houston. So what is one of your main motivations for getting this up and going?
Yeah, so I actually graduated from U of H with my degree in hospitality back in 2014. Okay. And so my emphasis there was events and catering. And I developed a passion of hotels, but I never got into hotels. I was mainly restaurants. But I wanted it to be a focus on bringing a boutique hotel or a bed and breakfast to Third Ward because that's where I grew up. So I went to high school, went to Yates, and I went to Ryan for a year, and then I transferred over to a charter school, which is still in Third Ward. But I felt like that was something that was missing in the community. Like, we see motels, but we also don't, I feel like we don't get the lodging side of the history that we have in hospitality. We meaning Black people. We always see the food and beverage side. We see the restaurants, but we never really see the lodging. And so that's what I feel like is missing, especially now with the way Houston is kind of changed and innovated. And
what you mean by that?
I feel like, well, it's true. A lot of people have moved to Houston. Like within the past, since I graduated from U of H to now, almost 10 years, it's become much more diverse than what it was. And so I think this is something that people want to see because it's needed. And we, like you said, we're like a melting pot for a lot of different cultures.
No, and it's funny that you say that, and just being in the hospitality industry, how have you seen things change from when you graduated in 2014 to now?
Yeah, so of course the community has changed, especially U of H acquiring a lot of property, Texas Southern acquiring more property and getting larger. A lot of people coming into the community and starting businesses. A lot of travelers coming to those businesses specifically, like, restaurants that are like blowing up. I feel like we as a community, we could do better on the business side, but also we have grown so much since 10, 12 years ago when people weren't even considering bringing their businesses into the community. They were trying to branch out and
Right.
go on the outskirts. I feel like that has tremendously changed for the better, of course. And
Right.
a lot of people, as we see, are trying to move back from the suburbs back into, the inner city because it's more convenient. It's closer to everything. Everybody's trying to be within the mix and in the city. So those are some changes I've definitely noticed.
No, and by in the community, you're meaning like in the third ward community, kind of that inner loop, inner city of Houston
Yes,
type of
inner
vibe.
loop, third ward, fifth ward is undergoing a major development right now, as well as even South Park. My grandmother has some land there, and we're trying to build there because
Right.
it's right off the loop. I feel like everybody is trying to move back in because they realize that they're missing out on a lot of the action that's coming back into
Right.
the city.
No, it makes sense. And it's funny, just kind of touching on that, because do you feel that from everybody coming into the city and kind of all these businesses that are popping up, is that taking an effect on the way that maybe you're looking for development? Because I think one of your big things right now is looking for investors, right?
Correct.
So
correct.
how does that play into you?
Yes, it's major because all of the properties that I've been looking at, the price is like nothing less than $500,000.
Damn.
So if I want to get a house there's certain things that I have to consider. Like, a lot of people are asking, well, why won't you just, get an Airbnb? And I'm like, well, if you understand the vision, the things that I'm trying to do, I can't just do in any regular space.
What are you trying to do? Give us a little
So for events, going back to the vision of redefining hospitality and wanting to offer these events and cultural experiences, we have to have the right amount of space.
Right.
It can't just be a regular house with
Right.
like 3 rooms and 1.5 bathrooms because we want to be able to cater to everyone. Every room needs to have a restroom.
Right.
We need to have a common space if people want to eat breakfast together. The space needs to be large enough. So looking at different properties in that area with that size is like nothing's less than $500,000.
Where are you looking?
So specifically right now we're looking in Third Ward, but I'm trying to remain open and, consider other spaces, other opportunities because we never know. I don't want to miss out on something
Right.
that could be a huge blessing. Of course, I have a strong tie to Third Ward, so I want to be there.
Right.
But I'm trying to be open and think, maybe Fifth Ward won't be so bad. Maybe Galveston could be a good, location for the first one. Maybe acquiring some land first and
Right.
then building from the ground up. But it's going to take a lot of community buy-in, a lot of backing from the community to get it up and running.
So when you mean backing for the community, are you saying like regular everyday people, if they see the vision, they can contact you and kind of find out how they can become an investor on this?
Yes. So the one key thing is I want to be able to make sure people understand what we're trying to do. Like, I think that if I don't explain to them that we're trying to redefine this, that we're trying to bring this to the community, they're not going to understand it and they're not going to be interested in investing in it. Whether it's a monetary investment or them just sharing it on their Instagram or them just going to the website and learning more.
Right.
So I think that right now I've been trying to host events, community events, partnering with a lot of local businesses so that we can work together because collaboration is like one of our key core values, and trying to figure out how we can build it up together because I want it to be community focused.
Right.
I want to offer, different small business products in the bed and breakfast as well. So that's what I mean when I say community buy-in, back in. It's not just the residents, it's also the businesses too.
No, and it's funny. It's funny. Me and Kaylon met at like a urban league class
business
type of
university.
small
Yep.
business university, kind of just bouncing around. It's been like 2 years, like
Yep.
2
Going on
or
3.
3 years that we've met. So this idea is definitely not nothing new to her, and it's funny because even in the event space and the event arena, she's excelling. And I would love for you to kind of touch on that and kind of just give us a spiel on when it comes to events. What part does Beck Call play, or is that something else? How does that
Sure,
work?
yeah. So I actually started event planning back in 2015 when I graduated from U of H. While I was at U of H, I interned with a wedding planner, and that's how I developed the passion for events. Now, I never really wanted to get into weddings because it's stressful, but honestly, that's one of my biggest money makers in events because, people, they go all out for their weddings.
Right.
So I wanted to focus on like community, collaborative events and maybe like those kind of experiential marketing events.
Right.
But I never really tapped into it because with those, it's kind of like who you know. But when I developed Beck and Call, I was like, okay, I need to tie this all in together. It doesn't make sense to have two different entities when it's pretty much the same thing. So I changed the name to Beck and Call Events after I got this LLC, and I just went from there. I kind of did like a brand change, a brand regroup, and still planning events. Most of the ones we highlight are like community focused, but small, intimate weddings. I try to do. It's a lot because I work full time, but I try to do at least 3 to 4 weddings a year. So I have another one coming up. I just wrapped up one in February, but it's pretty much our revenue for now until we can bring in, more clients, until I get more investors for the bed and breakfast. This is our main revenue.
Right, and it's funny because I think a lot of times business owners forget that, and we always think about having all these multiple streams of income, which you should have a lot of streams of income, but sometimes the multiple streams of income can come from all in that one entity. Like you don't have to have like the t-shirt brand and then you also the video recorder on the side and do all these things. Sometimes your one business can be created and branched off into a few different things and still kind of collaboratively help that main goal and that main focus. So I really love the way you did that. So that's good.
Thank you.
But when it comes to just the hospitality industry as a whole, is there anything specific that you would say someone that's maybe in the industry or looking to get into the industry should focus on, or maybe that's one of the main things that they should I guess look into when getting into the industry?
Yeah, so hospitality is like either you like it or you don't. And that's one thing that they taught us in school. It's like if you don't like customer service, if that's not your focus, then this program is probably not for you. So I think that's the main thing I want to focus on is how do we bring this customer service, this quality customer service back into the community. I mean, we hear a lot of stories about, I had a bad experience at this restaurant or I had a bad experience at this hotel, because of sometimes it's the color of your skin you feel like, or, the food wasn't as good as you expected it to be.
Right.
And so I think that's one thing that people who are coming into the industry need to focus on is it's not just because you want to have a business. It's more so why do you want it, who is it serving, and what's the purpose? Like why do you want to bring this into whatever environment or community you're planning to bring it into?
And you know what I think about when you say that, because it's hot right now, Airbnb, everybody creating Airbnbs, and you actually touched on something really big that influencer talks about that I follow. Like, what are you trying to bring into this environment? Even when you're talking about maybe from a short-term rental standpoint, when it comes to that customer service, how can I have 30 reviews or 60 reviews on my Airbnb account and really provide that customer experience, kind of how you're saying that leads with this. So that's major. But also within this hospitality industry, it was a big hit, I know, with COVID.
Yes.
COVID probably turned y'all upside down, I'm sure, and back around. What are some things that have changed in the industry from pre-COVID versus now that we're kind of in post-COVID or kind of in this epidemic?
Yes, so I mean, pre-COVID, people were all into traveling. And I still think it's the same. Like, I still feel like people maybe took a little break when COVID started. But now, since they were in the house for so long and everything that was going on during COVID, they ready to just get out and travel again. So I feel like we're slowly getting back into that. We probably are back into it because people are back traveling. But one thing, I was a little scared a little bit because I was like, okay, I had this great idea and then COVID hit.
Oh, because you were doing that. You were still doing the idea during COVID.
Correct. So I think when we met at the end of the program, it was end of 2019.
Yeah.
Right when 2020 hit, COVID hit.
Right.
So I was like, okay. I created this business plan, I worked on my website, I'm trying to build up my brand through social media, and I'm like, okay, let me see how these other people in the industry are going to handle this so I can know if this happens again, this is what I need to do.
Right.
And so I think that me trying to open a boutique hotel or a bed and breakfast is kind of an advantage because I don't have to worry about an influx of people coming in at one time.
Right.
It's only going to be a certain amount.
Right.
I can only have maybe 5 rooms at the least, maybe 20 at the most if it's a boutique hotel. So I feel like I have an advantage on that, but also learning like the different guidelines in terms of how often we have to clean the rooms now. You know, do we need to fog the rooms after the guest leaves? Just, you know, let it sit for 24 hours because, you know, COVID, everybody's not vaccinated. That's okay. But we have to figure out how to make those changes, those last minute changes if we need to.
And how did you see, or what did you notice in the industry? How did people adapt? What changed? What did you see bigger people do? Like a bit.
Yes, so I noticed a lot of people did like keyless check-ins.
Yeah.
So we took our first trip maybe like early last year. And I'm a Hilton Rewards member, and so I know I could check in now without having to go to the front desk. So that's one thing I noticed. I didn't notice that before, and maybe that was done before and I just didn't know. But I was like, that's a good idea for when I open up my space.
Right.
But that goes back into having the resources and the financial resources for that technology, because you have to have an app, or you got to have some kind of you know, keyless check-in. That's one thing I noticed. I also noticed, you know, with the events, a lot of people have like decided to minimize their event. It used to be like, okay, I'm gonna invite 200 people.
Right.
Now it's like, okay, maybe I can just do 50 and keep it more intimate, small. So I have noticed that a lot of the event spaces have made accommodations for guests who want smaller, intimate events. And it's not 10 people at a table now, it's 8,
Right.
you know? So those are some things that I noticed.
And do you think this is just the way we're going to live now, or just for a 2 to 5 year span, or is it kind of just in the air and we don't know?
I honestly think, well, with Texas, you know, we make our own rules. So I honestly, you know, think that we are back to normal in Texas. I'm not sure if that's how we're supposed to be, but I feel like people are slowly getting back to normal. I feel like people, you know, we've adjusted to this new normal. So it's like people have their own ways of feeling safe. Like I still wear my mask, but sometimes when I go out, I don't see people with their mask on, but that's okay because, you know, people have their own ways of feeling safe.
Right.
And so I feel like that we are slowly getting back to normal.
No, and it's funny. So within that and just kind of getting back to normal and bringing in investors, for an investor that might be invested in Beck Call, is that something that we should worry about, or should we feel like, oh, well, if we're in Texas and we get back to normal, is this going to be big enough or acquire enough to kind of fulfill what we were thinking when we invested?
So with investors, what I've learned is that investors are only going to invest in something that they believe is going to, you know, is going to be profitable, successful. So one thing I've been trying to focus on is finding and connecting with those people, not just asking them for money first, but just getting advice, you know, trying to see like, okay, I've never done this before. I don't know how investing works, but can you show me, can you tell me like, okay, this is how much I need to ask for, because maybe I'm not asking for enough.
Right.
And, you know, how would you want your return to look like? Do you want it to be within 5 years? Do you want it to be within 10? Do you even care? Like, so those are some things that I've been trying to do and connecting with investors and trying to figure out, you know, who can connect me with more people.
Right.
I feel like, you know, with women, you probably know this because the stat is, you know, less than 0.001% of Black women businesses get VC funding, and that's pretty sad.
Yeah.
But it's been very eye-opening and a learning experience trying to figure out what different avenues to get funding. As you know, we participate in a lot of those small business classes, trying to figure out how we can get funding, whether it's through investors, through grants, through small business loans. So it's been a journey as well as connecting with investors too.
No, and have you found just kind of in your research or what you've been doing so far where the investors are hanging out, or the best practices for finding investors?
You know, I always ask when people say I need an investor, I'm like, okay, so where do they hang out at? Because I don't mind, you know, pulling up and like, okay, I need, you know, some money. Nobody has given me an answer to where they are, because definitely if I had an answer, I would tell you right now. But I actually recently attended an event with the Women's Business Center here, and it was a Meet the Lender event. And I wasn't going to do it at first. It was virtual. I was working. I was like, okay, let me tuned into this on the side, and I connected with a guy who is an investor. He has his own lending business, his lending company, and so I was like, okay, perfect. I'm glad I tuned in, and I've been trying to connect with him ever since. That was about a week ago.
Right.
And so I'm hoping that, the more I go to these events and attend these events, I can connect with more people like him.
Research.
Yeah.
Research. That's all I heard you saying was research. Research.
It's a lot. It's been a lot of research, like even on the business side, plus trying to find funding. Like grants, that's a whole nother research thing. Just trying to find free money that you don't have to pay back. Applying for the grants, that takes a long time sometimes. So, so it's been a lot of research.
And it's funny you say that, because I really feel like, and I think it's some stats to this, where they make those things long on purpose. They make the applications, they make everything long on purpose, because they really want to see, are you going to sit here and fill this out and really be dedicated to get it?
But I've learned that they make the application long, but the answers don't have to be long.
Ooh,
they
that's
don't
a good
want to
one.
read. They don't want to read. And shout out to my grant coach, but they don't want to read all of that information, which makes sense. Just imagine how many applications they get.
Exactly.
You don't have to go into full detail on every answer. Like if they ask you for your mission, just say the mission.
Right.
They ask you for, who are you serving in the community? Just say, I'm serving, ... And that's it. They don't want to know the whole story. They don't want your full business plan.
You would think that's the wrong answer, because you know how you just sitting there, you thinking you got to be all
That's
like...
what I did at first, and I didn't get not one grant. I applied for 8 last year. I keep a track of how many I applied for.
You applied 8 grants last year?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And to me, that's not a lot, but I didn't get one. And then the first one I applied to this year, from the advice I got from my coach, I got it. So I was like, okay.
I heard that.
I don't need to go. I don't need to go. With these long answers, because they don't want to read all that.
Yeah, I heard that though, right? Coach. You got a coach. A coach switch the game, change the game for you in business. You need a coach. You need a life coach, a business coach, a bookkeeper, anything that deals with your business. Get a separate coach for that. So no, that was good. And would you say with that coach, that's been one of the main pinnacles? Because I mean, it sounds like it has.
Yeah, actually, it has. And I just connected with her maybe like early February. It's crazy how we connected through my job, one of my jobs, and she just gave me some advice. The thing is, I had already applied for the grant, but her advice was to follow up with the people who were on the team.
I didn't even know you could follow up on grants.
Well, she was like, try to connect with them on LinkedIn,
That's
try
smart.
to send them a message. I was like, I would have never thought about that.
No, that's smart.
Because in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm bugging them. I don't want to bother them. I don't want to make it seem like, okay, I'm just connecting with you just to, for the grant. But it actually worked. I guess it worked because they called me for an interview and I ended up getting it. But she has a master class, and so she's been helping a lot of people like just work through their applications, figure out what their vision and mission statement are, your bio, that's important. And so that has been very, very helpful.
And would you say, you touched on the bio and just kind of that social presence, I'm guessing that played a factor in what you were doing. Would you mind saying the grant, or are you allowed to tell us what the grant
yeah, so it's Black Girl Ventures, which is, they're based out of Washington, D.C. A lot of people have heard of them. They have a huge following. They give a lot of grants and offer a lot of funding resources for Black and minority women. So it was kind of major because it's a fellowship / grant. But I'm going to have to work for it, of course. Nothing comes easy.
Yeah.
Nothing comes easy. But I'm excited because the fellowship will allow us to gain more leadership opportunities. We get to host a pitch competition here in Houston. We also get to kind of build up our ecosystem with other female entrepreneurs. So I'm excited about that, and hopefully it'll lead to some more grant opportunities. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really like-minded women too.
Now you gotta tell me more about that off cam. That's legit.
Yeah.
Is there a place, or where do you go to find these grants? Like, where am I going?
I am on a lot of email newsletters. I'm on yours for sure. But I'm on a lot of, I'm connected with a lot of groups like Fearless Fund. I ran my crowdfunding campaign through I Fund Women that has a lot of grants. A lot of like the Women Business Center, they send grants. So it's a lot of research and trying to figure out, you don't want to, cloud up your inbox, but it's like, each newsletter has probably something that you need, at
Right.
least one thing. So every time somebody announces a grant, I just add it to my little spreadsheet with the link. I put the deadline because I'm like, okay, I got to realize, time.
Right.
So that's how I find a lot of the grants. And on social media. Like, I follow a lot of the Fearless Fund. I follow Fund Her, Get Funded, just to, get access to more of these opportunities.
No, and it seems like they're out there. You just gotta
You gotta
research.
and look. You really have to pay attention and read, because a lot of people don't read. But reading is key, because another thing I learned is that just because it says, grant for African American women doesn't mean you qualify. Just because you're African American, you have to
Right.
read through the guidelines and see, is it for hospitality? Is it for any business? Is it for beauty and wellness? That's pretty popular right now. Is it for like hair? So it's doing the reading and the research to figure out, can I even qualify? Because you don't want to waste your time applying for that application when you can be applying for another one.
Exactly. And and we said a lot today, but I feel like we need to give our listeners hope, because they probably thinking and they're like, man, Jha and Kaylon, y'all telling me I gotta do research, I gotta try to build my business, I gotta find investors, I gotta do all these things. So, but you're doing all of them. So I want to give you some praise, first of all, because
thank
you're
you.
doing all of the things, but also,
took time.
how are you able to do all this? Because you said you got a full-time job, you got your part-time where you're doing events, you're doing grants. How are you making all this work and happen?
Well, I have a lot of good support from my family and friends, and the two ladies on my Beck Call team. Shout out to them.
Team.
Because I would not have been able to do, like, the social media alone is a job itself.
Right.
And good time management skills. So that's something I've developed during the pandemic. When I first got my full-time job, just developing the time management, like, okay, I know I work 9 to 5 for the job. So after 5, how much time can I devote to my part-time job? After that, how much can I devote to Beck and Call? How much can I devote to the events? I recently got an intern to help me with that. So it's kind of like, taking advantage of the help that I have.
Right.
People who want to help. That's been key, instead of trying to figure out how to do it all on my own, because that's not possible.
Definitely. You mentioned a couple of different people. So how does your team lay out? Just give us a quick layout of who's on your team.
Yeah, sure. So it's me, of course. I'm the owner, founder. Layla Jordan, she does my social media and marketing. She's amazing because she creates all the graphics.
Nice.
And she sends the email newsletters. She also is helping me, recreate my pitch deck, and she gives ideas about the website. So that's helpful. I have my friend Carniche. We met at U of H, and she is very creative. Like, she has a lot of creative ideas, and she helps me on the event side. So anything we need in terms of whenever our next event is, like, we're doing an R&B yoga at my sister's studio in a couple of weeks, and so she's helping me curate that and make the space more Beck and Call.
Right.
We've been friends for a very long time. Then I have my realtor, Mr. Larry. He's been helping me ever since I got my LLC, and I approached him, and I guess he thought I was pretty serious because he's still hanging on. He's been helping me. We've been touring a lot of properties and looking at some spaces together. So those are the 3 people a part of my team.
God, you got a winner team. 3, and it's only taking 3 people, and they're making all this work. Y'all see that?
Yeah.
And some time management,
Yeah.
of course. But
Yeah.
no, this is good. So bringing it kind of in, if you had to speak to an investor, what type of investor are you looking for, and what are you looking for from them?
Yeah, so I'm interested in passive investors, not active ones.
Okay, hold
So-
on. Give us some
Yeah,
guidelines.
so a passive investor is someone who pretty much just gives you the money. They don't really want to be a part of the project. They just want a return on their money. Active, they want to be able to voice their opinion, make decisions. Sometimes I found that, with active investors, it's hard trying to please everybody.
What you mean? Like,
So in terms of, if I have you, Jha, that wants to invest, I'm going to try to please you plus Jane Doe over here who wants to invest as well. And that's kind of hard to do because everybody has their own opinions, their own ways of how they see things should be, which is not bad. But when you're bringing in all those opinions, it's hard to keep your mind,
Right.
on the prize. It's hard to stay focused. So I'm really looking for more passive investors who see the vision from afar.
Right.
And also, you know, we just wrapped up our crowdfunding campaign back in October. That was a good way for us to get more visibility.
What's a crowdfunding campaign?
So crowdfunding is where you raise money within your network, within your family and friends network.
Okay.
It was solely donation based, solely rewards based. So
Okay.
we did it in tiers where, you know, if you donated $50, you get a t-shirt. If you donate $100, you get XYZ. If you donate $250, you get your name on the plaque.
Right.
So that was a good way for us to get visibility. We were able to raise $11,000, which I think is pretty good for our first crowdfunding. But I think it also helped us realize, okay, when we go into this next phase of investing, what is that going to look like? How much should we ask for? Which we're still working on because, like I said, the prices are different. Also, just building up our brand awareness. So let's just say you don't know about Beck Call, but you know, somebody tells you about it. When you go straight to our website, just from reading it, you know exactly what we're trying to offer. So those are some things that we're trying to tie into the investment piece. Like, how can we get to these people? What do we need to tell them? I know a lot of people with money are not even on social media, so it's like, how do we even, you know, reach them and touch them?
No, and exactly. So what are you looking for from them? Is it like any amount of money? Do you want me to put in 5K, 10K, or?
So our minimum is 5K. Somebody told me one time anything less than 5K is a donation. I said,
Ooh.
okay. I said, okay, that's good advice. So I really need to touch base with the guy who told me that to figure out, you know, why. But
Right.
But honestly, I mean, anything less than 5K, I guess, is a donation. And we just got our first investor at 5K. The thing is, you know, trying to figure out how many people we want involved. Like, I know I need to keep it to 51-49. I want to have major, you know, ownership in the business. So figuring out, you know, if I get this amount in grant money, how much do I need from investors?
Right.
And that's been, again, a lot of research. Like, okay, let's just say I raise $100,000 by the end of the year in grants, then how much more will I need from investors, and how many investors? Do I want to keep it in the family?
Right.
Do I want to open this up to people who I don't know? Because that can be tricky as well. Yeah. So it's been a lot of back and forth. It's been, do I want to get an SBA loan and pay the bank back?
Yeah.
But it's been a lot of that. So with investors, if they can't come to me with more than 5,000, I don't see them, you know, helping me at all. And it's taking me a long time to say that, because it's like I want to take everybody money, but it's like you can't say you want to invest when you're giving me something that's not even going to be beneficial to the project.
Ooh. You talking spicy. You talking,
thank you.
You talking spicy, all calm with it. You know, you can't give me the 5K.
I mean,
then
it's the truth.
You know,
like,
donation.
If you can't give me 5,000 or more, it's like it's a donation.
Right. No, so, I like that, and that's when you know somebody has that confidence and they've done the research and they know their idea works, because they can turn down what you're trying to offer them if it's not minimal to what they're looking to accept. So just being able to say that with confidence, I applaud you, and that's how I know the business is working. It's just about when
it took a while to get here.
Nah.
It took a while to get here because I was trying to take everybody money, and I still will as a donation. But it has to be, you know, if you want to invest, it got to be 5. If it's less than 5, then it's a donation.
No.
Yeah.
we got that much. And as an investor, am I, and I know if you guys haven't worked these kinks out, it's fine. But after I, let's say, give the 5K or however much I feel I want to give, what happens then?
Yes, so we are working, actually we're launching on an investment platform. Okay. Hopefully in the next couple of months. That's tricky because, you know, with the paperwork, the legal things, working with a lawyer to make sure the investors get all the information they need. So I plan to meet with all of my investors. Like, you know, my first investment, I met with her, I talked to her, I'm like, well, how long do you want to return back on your money? At what percentage would you be okay with? And so it's kind of been like a trial and error thing.
So everybody can be different. Like I can come in and say, hey, here goes my 10,000. I'm not looking for a return for the next 3 years. I can adjust it.
It could be different based on how much the person gives. So I feel like with the 5,000, if anybody else comes in at 5,000, it needs to be the same agreement as the other person that came in at 5. Same with the 10, 20, 30. So those are some different kinks we're working out because, like I said, we're trying to figure out how many do we actually need.
Right.
And are we able to make all this money back in revenue to pay the investors back within, a 5-year time span.
Right. No, and that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. So is there anywhere we can find this link right now, or where can we go to get more information?
Yeah, so we have a Google form, investor Google form on our website, yourbecandcall.co. And so we're just trying to get information from interested investors who can give us $5,000 or more and receive information from them. We're going to start an investment newsletter so that we can start sharing the information soon once the platform launches.
Is there any requirements for investors, like anything specific?
No, nothing specific. Just the money. That's the money. Nothing specific.
As long as the check clears, I think we're good to go.
Nothing specific, yeah.
No, this is good. So besides finding Beck & Call and being an investor, where can we just find more information about you and kind of just keep up with what's going on?
Yeah, so the website has a lot of information, yourbecandcall.co, not .com. We're on pretty much all social media. So we're on Instagram at Beck Call Hospitality. We're on Twitter. We are on TikTok. We have a YouTube channel where we post a lot of our recaps from our events. We're also on LinkedIn as well. And so anywhere you can find us. We're just not on Snapchat. We're not on Snapchat. But but our website has a lot of information about what we're trying to do, about the team, about events, and our social media handles.
Nice. Well, no, this has been amazing. Thank you. And no, for sure. So, guys, you heard it. If you are looking or would like to learn more information about Beck & Call Hospitality, definitely go check out the links. If you want to learn more about being an investor or you see the vision early, definitely go check out more. Or if you have a donation, definitely feel free to go check out more. But this has been a fun episode, and I'm super excited to see where this goes. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.